So that's when it really is a dangerous weapon in its own right, listing candidate moves. And Tisdall basically says there's one other time it can be rewarding to have a careful scan. When you decide on a course of action, it can be worthwhile to have at least one last attentive inventory of the board. This can be impractical if it plunges into new thoughts, but it often turns up something important. So there can be a potential blunder which was overlooked. So it's often very useful in good positions to seek out an absolutely crushing move instead of a reasonable one, Tisdall writes. But the last 2 points, having faith in your calculations, so sometimes you've got to trust it. I think that's a good way of avoiding losing time on the clock. And in predominantly strategic games, Tisdall basically writes the calculation will be less important than the internal discussion of positional elements. I mean, we know that from how computers used to be really weak in closed positions because there's really nothing tactically going on. Their brute force method is no good. We also know that there's this weakness of the horizon effect where if you don't put the computer on for long enough and it's got a certain depth, then after that depth it's missed this sting in the tail. So there are these various weaknesses that if we're literally taking Kotov's candidate move system as this, we're going to think like computers, if then, then we lose, our assets of being human, which is basically to look at the strategic trump cards of the position, to look at the imbalances. We're seemingly put into a different vacuum when he talked about this Smyslov example, when Smyslov was comparing all the things. Why would that be just done initially, before plunging into variations? Why isn't it integrated when you look at a particular move in a variation to again constantly look at the strategic trump cards that you might have? What Kotov was going on about, differences in pawn structure, open lines, outposts, coordination, try and trumping the opponent in all the moves in your variations. That's a human activity which computers cannot do. And this is my problem with the candidate move system. Not just Kotov misses the most crushing move in his very first diagram, but this lack of integration is a major problem of, the calculation is good for looking at forcing moves, but, this verbalization of the strategic elements all the time and using that to feed other variations, that's, using our asset of being human and not just mechanical. So anyway, I hope that brings more light into this thing I mentioned about, are these toolkits, like candidate moves, are they cute fluffy toys or are they dangerous weapons? They're dangerous weapons in the right context, I think, when there are, clear, sharp tactical positions, especially ones like this, where, all the white's pieces are poised quite dangerously. There's a lot of threats. But I think it has to be integrated with, trying to maximise trump cards. In this case, the bishop on b3 is the key to the thing. It makes it like a puzzle, in fact. White to play and win. Knight takes f7. I hope you enjoyed that, and please post some questions for me on this. Why you think the candidate move system is wonderful, how it's improved your game. If you apply it to every position, whether it's closed or not. If you never verbalise your findings, please let me know how you've used the candidate move system set out by Kotov. I'm very interested in this. Thanks very much.